couples get married, they plan on creating lifetime marriages. Yet research shows that 32% of marriages will end in divorce within the first 10 years. Most couples don't even realize they are making these fatal mistakes that lead to divorce. Join me for today's episode where I will share these 5 fatal mistakes so that you can know if you're making them and shift course to creating the marriage that you long for. Hi, I'm Julia Woods, couples coach and wife to my husband, Jeff, for over 3 decades. I am passionate about helping couples create life-giving communication where both spouses feel seen and heard, no matter how difficult the conversation is. Because I know if they can do that, they can literally accomplish anything together as a couple. When couples reach out to me, they are often in shock as they realize their marriages are failing. They, like so many couples, never thought their marriage would fail. In fact, research done by Beth Porter reveals that only 10% of college students believe they could wind up divorced, yet almost 50% of marriages are ending that way. Most couples who get divorced never thought it would happen to them. Research done by Vicki Larson shows that for couples who stay married, 6 out of 10 consider themselves unhappy in their marriage. This is extremely alarming and unnecessary. My husband and I, and so many of the couples I coach, never saw divorce in our future. And like us, they love each other and yet find themselves feeling emotionally or physically divorced from one another because they are doing the 5 things that lead to a divorce and they don't even know it. The best news is that once they stop doing these 5 things and start doing what I will soon share with you, they feel more connected and happier in their marriage than they ever have. So let's look at the 5 choices that lead to emotional, physical, or actual divorce. The first one is the biggest one, and it is not reconciling conflicts. As the saying goes, you can only sweep so much under the rug before you start tripping over the mess that you made. Difficult conversations don't go away. They just get harder to have. In each conflict that you decide to agree to disagree, go along to keep the peace, don't rock the boat, or give up your voice because what you have to say doesn't matter, you are sweeping things under the rug. Conflicts in your marriage are designed to be a gift. Just like in nature, all life comes out of tension. Your marriage is no different. Tension is the gift that takes us into discomfort where growth becomes possible. If you want to stop making this mistake, you must learn to reconcile conflicts in a way that creates a win-win for both you and your spouse. And that, believe it or not, is very possible. It is the heart of the work that I do. And at the end of this episode, I will be sharing with you a powerful resource that can help you resolve 90% of your conflicts in a pretty quick exercise. So make sure you stick around until the end. Let's look at the second sign that you are heading towards divorce and don't know it, and it is that you are blaming each other. Like the Hebrew parable says, we often see the log in the other person's eye, which is actually a speck, and instead ignore the log in our own. We tell ourselves that if they hadn't said or done what they did, then we wouldn't have reacted or responded the way that we did. This is called the blame game. And while it may feel like you are winning at the moment as you see your spouse as the problem, you're losing the love and connection and partnership that you long for. You committed to always have each other's back and fight for each other in life. And yet when you blame each other, you turn on one another and become enemies. If you want to create a thriving lifetime marriage, you will need to stop blaming and start taking personal responsibility for your contributions to what you don't want in your marriage. Even if your contribution is only 5% of what is creating the current results, Take 100% responsibility for your part, and you can transform the outcome of the conversation and overall your satisfaction in your marriage. The third sign that you are heading towards divorce and don't know it is that you're waiting for your spouse to change. The blame game leads us to see each other as the problem. As you start tripping over the lump of unresolved conflicts you are blaming each other for, you begin to see flaws in your spouse that you believe are the overarching problem in your relationship. They don't listen. They're stubborn. They care more about others than you. They have addictions. They have a control problem, or they aren't prioritizing the marriage. Whatever flaw you have decided is the problem becomes the thing that must change in order for your marriage to grow in your mind. You become a victim, waiting for your spouse to change while your marriage burns to the ground around you. If you want a thriving lifetime marriage, you must stop waiting for your spouse to change and instead take 100% responsibility for the marriage you long for and start choosing it one moment at a time. The fourth sign that you are heading towards divorce and don't know it is you ruminate after conflicts. When you and your spouse have a conflict, you ruminate on what they said or did. Your brain plays over and over that evil look they gave you, those crazy eyes when they said something, or that immature way they reacted. How could they have been so awful, cruel, or villainous? As you ruminate, it's like your brain is putting up a most wanted poster of your spouse in your brain so you never forget they are the bad guy or the bad gal in this situation. The problem is that each of you do awful, cruel, and villainous things, but you aren't focused on your choices. Instead, you're fixated on theirs. If you want a life-giving marriage, you must focus on your choices when conflicts arise. Focus on the ways you showed up that were not aligned with the spouse that you are committed to be, and take responsibility for them. That brings us to the fifth and final sign that you are heading towards divorce and don't know it, and it is that one or both of you is stonewalling. As you grew up fighting with siblings and kids on the playground, you developed an arsenal of emotional weapons to use when you feel threatened. The most lethal weapon of all is stonewalling. When you shut down and refuse to speak to your spouse because you are mad, hurt, tired of fighting, or make up that what you have to say isn't going to matter, you are making a lethal blow to your marriage. Stonewalling leaves your spouse feeling abandoned, rejected, and overwhelmed. And while it may feel effective in the moment at staying semi-calm or avoiding the conflict, according to research done by Gottman Institution, it is the fourth and final stage couples enter that predicts a 94% chance of divorce. Stonewalling is what people do when they feel overwhelmed by the emotions or feel hopeless that saying anything will actually do any good. If you're feeling that in a conflict, rather than stonewalling, ask your spouse if you can take a 5 to 10 minute break from the conversation to get clear on what you are feeling and thinking. Then during the break, you can apply some of the tools that we have talked about in the above steps, like noticing where you're blaming your spouse and instead focus on what you're contributing, or focus on the marriage you long for and what you need to do in this conversation to pursue that. Or look at how you're showing up in the conversation and whether it aligns with the spouse you are committed to be. Shift whatever is out of alignment in how you're showing up. When you take these steps, you can quickly move out of feeling overwhelmed and gain hope that you can actually make a difference in the conversation because you're focused on the one thing you can change: yourself. My husband and I unknowingly had every one of these 5 signs and were heading towards divorce. 3 months before our 20th wedding anniversary, we separated, and we didn't know if our marriage would survive. We began taking responsibility and making each of these shifts that I have shared with you, and we healed our broken marriage and are growing a marriage that we both love. I know the anguish of unhappiness in your marriage and the exhaustion of conflicts going nowhere. And I want to help as many couples as possible create thriving lifetime marriages, one conversation at a time. In the first sign that you're heading towards divorce and don't know it, I promise to share a resource with you that can help you resolve 90% of your conflicts quickly. And here it is. If you would like me to guide you step by step through growing your ability to produce life-giving conversations in what I have found to be the #1 problem couples face in conversations, then you will want the Connection Playbook. You can grow your communication skills today for less than the price of a date night and shift 90% of your conflicts into connection. The link to the Connection Playbook is in the description section under this video. Don't miss that. Thank you for joining me today. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode and like this video. I look forward to seeing you the next time. Hey, hon.
Yeah.
Which of the 5 signs that you're heading towards divorce and don't even know it that we were making, do you think was the most hurtful and destructive in the years that we were making them?
Not having a reconciling conversation.
Number 1.
Number 1.
Yeah, not reconciling our conflicts. I agree.